everyone, I'm here with a review. I'm doing a review of the Seven Energies Oracle by Colette Baron-Reid. Now, I did do an unboxing video of this. I want to do more reviews though. I do have a fair amount of decks, and so I really want to do some reviews. Also some lists and things like, reviewing different styles of decks or different authors' decks. Like Colette Baron-Reid has a ton of decks, so I think I might do kind of a order of her different decks, but this is just about this particular one. So yes, so I'm doing a review. Now that I've worked with this deck a little bit more, we're going to talk about the Seven Energies Oracle. So this one came out, I believe, in July, August. I got it in early August. And so this is Hay House. She is a Hay House author. This particular deck is based on the idea of the seven chakras or seven energy centers of the body. So she has 7 cards for each of the 7 energy centers. So we have 49 cards in this deck. Now, I do personally prefer a chunkier deck. Like 49 is actually pretty good because there are a fair amount of Hay House decks that just have 44 in them. I've even seen ones with like even less, like 30 something. So 49 is not terrible, but I kind of got used to Colette's chunkier decks. Like there was the Spirit Animal deck's got 60 something cards in it. Same with the Crystal deck, I believe has about 60 cards. So I got kind of used to these chunkier decks. So I do miss that, but I do get the concept of 7 times 7, 49. So it is, still fair size deck for an Oracle deck because I have seen smaller Oracle decks. So she's working with the same artist, which is Jenna Della Grottaglia. I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, but she's been working with her, I think, since the Enchanted Map. She's been working with this particular artist, and I've really seen her art come a long way. I'm not really into the computer style of art, but this one, like the computer collage kind of thing, but she does it very well, so I don't mind that with this one. So let's talk about the packaging first of all. It is well packaged. It's nice, solid. Nice and solid, so you can keep your cards in here. I do like Hay House decks for the way they're packaged because they're nice and compact. You can put them on the shelf. There's no problems there. I love the addition of the magnetic closures that they're doing now. I find this a lot easier to open than when you have to kind of take the top off. Not that that's terribly hard, but I do like the magnetic closure. So I do, packaging is very nice. You open it up, you've got this, nice kind of packaging on the inside. So full marks for packaging of the box, and then you've got this beautiful ribbon here. So they've packaged it quite well. As usual, you've got your little book with it too. Now, this book isn't the chunkiest. Obviously, there's 49 cards in here, so it is going to be a little smaller than, say, the Spirit Animal deck. And, it's your typical Hay House. I do prefer, I have to say, when Hay House does the smaller books that go inside the box, as opposed to, was it the Mystical Shaman Oracle that Colette Baron-Reid did with a couple of other authors. Same with the Goddess Power, where it came in a big box. You slid it open, there was a bigger book, and then inside was the small box with just the cards, and I found that to be just over packaging. There's no reason for those books to be like that particular size. They didn't particularly contain that much more information. They really could have just put it into a book like this. So I do appreciate the compact book. My one criticism with this particular one is there are no thumbnails. So you just have the name of the card, and then you have information about the card. So you do have your typical sort of, little introduction, and then there's a couple of spreads, and then you have each of the cards and what they mean. The other complaint I have with this particular deck is there's no reversals. Now, she did say she did not intend there to be reversals, but I like reversals, particularly with Oracle cards, because I feel like it adds another layer of meaning there. Other decks she's had too in the past, she's had like a main meaning, a relationship, a prosperity, and a reversal meaning. Sometimes called a protection mode, and I would have liked to see that in this just for a little more nuance. But overall, the book is your standard sort of Hay House book. I think that the meanings are they're well done for what they are. So I still think this is a good book. Now for the cards themselves, the cardstock is a little bit thinner than they have been in her previous decks. They are matte finish, which I know a lot of people love. but I don't love matte finish. I don't love matte finish because it's harder to shuffle. It's if you're doing like where you're fanning out the cards and picking, it's harder for them to be picked up. They photograph better, you don't get the glare, but I don't really like them as far as like using the cards a lot. I am not a fan of matte. That is a personal preference that I have. The other cards too, the previous decks, the Crystal Spirits and the Animal Spirits deck had a bit of a thicker cardstock as well. Now again, they're both matte, which I'm not a fan of, but this one, the cardstock's a bit thinner. It's not terribly thin. It is a bit thinner. You don't have any gilding here, and I know some people really love that. For example, her Wisdom of the Oracle deck and the Enchanted Map had gilding, and I like the little touches like that. I like a little bit of gilding. Now I do like the backs. I do like the rainbow swirl. Totally goes with the theme, goes with my hair, so I love it. But yes, I do like the pattern on the back for sure. As for the cards themselves, the artwork is beautiful. It is not my favorite Colette Baron-Reid deck, I have to say, and I do prefer the artwork that she had when she, the artist had, when she was doing stuff like the Enchanted Map, and also the Wisdom of the Oracle is probably, I think, her best work. The style she has now, I still really love it, but it's not like at the top for me. I did like the Animal Spirit Oracle as well for the artwork too. This one I find like it's just a little more computery. I don't know why I'm saying that, but I find that it's the colors aren't as juicy, and maybe that's because these are matte cards, but like it's very, the colors are nice and bright. Just trying to get the lighting just right for this to show you, but I find them, they feel a little bit more muted in some ways, and so I prefer some of the other decks. Now the artwork is beautiful, I have to say. It's kind of like, it's still good, it's just like not my favorite, if that makes sense. The concept of the cards is good. I would have to say, like, I like their borderless. I like you just have the keyword down here on the bottom, so I think they're designed well. But I wish it was clearer on each card which chakra it belongs to, because you can't really go by the colors on the card. So, for instance, this one is a heart chakra card, and it's green, so that makes sense. This one, number 32, is more pink, and it has to do with the third eye. Bearing Fruit 12 is a second chakra one, but it's pink. So I kind of wish that they had done something that indicated right on the card which chakra you were dealing with. So by either, having some kind of symbol, having, maybe the color on the bottom, or making sure that all of the cards in that particular one was dominant in that particular chakra color. Because what I'm having to do is when I pull one, I have to do the math in my head. Okay, this one's 12, so that means it's between 7 and 14, so it's got to be the second chakra. So stuff like that. And I think just if it was clearer, it would be nice, because if you were doing a spread, you could easily see like, okay, this is like throat chakra dominant because I'm seeing a lot of blue here or something like that. So I do wish that it had a clear indication of which chakra it was. As for reading the cards themselves, what I've been doing is I've been doing them as daily draw, and they have been fairly accurate. I think they contain some really great advice in them. I usually used my daily draw decks as kind of like a, what kind of attitude should I have today as I go into the world sort of thing, or what advice for today. I do wish there was a little bit more shadow meanings in this deck, so whether with reversals or cards themselves. There are a few shadow cards in here, but there's not a ton. Now I do realize it's an oracle deck, it is a Hay House deck, they tend to lean on the more positive, love and light kind of side of things, but I found that even with her other decks, like the Wisdom of the Oracle and the Enchanted Map, there were more shadow, there were more, I felt it was a little more balanced. Whereas this one I find is a little more like high vibey, and there's nothing wrong with like positive or high vibey, and sometimes you need that, but I just wish it was like a tad more balanced. I'm going to continue to work with this deck. I think that this deck gives you not so much, what is going to happen for the day, but more of like what attitude you should take as you move into the day, what things to be aware of, what things that you need to sort of what kind of energies you need to engage for that kind of day, for the day to go well, or to, just it's good advice type deck. It is very, like I said, very high vibe in that way. And I find that it repeats some of the things she's had from her other decks, which is fine. I mean, it's the same author. She's going to repeat some of these things. And it is sort of organizing it into the different chakra energies. Some of the cards I really, really love. I love the colors on this one, Awakening Genius. I do like that she does have a little more diversity in her decks now. Here we have a Burst of Magic. That's very pretty as well. Same with Call of the Muse. Let's try to get the lighting. Just right there. There's a fox in here. I love foxes, so that's great. Some of them, like this one, I don't really care for the way it looks, the Royal U. I think that the gold blends in too much together. Don't really care for this one as much. I just find that this is a good deck, but I don't think it's one of her best decks, if that makes sense. This is the one from the cover. Just trying to find some more here. So you can see if you like this style of artwork, you'll probably really like this. And I think if you like her other decks, you'll probably really like this one too. But it doesn't, I don't think it offers a ton of, I don't think it offers something like terribly new to the scene. See, this one is a shadowier one. Smoke and Mirrors, that's one of the shadow ones. But most of them are very, very positive, like a Deep Breath. Oh, that's glaring there. See the face there. Beyond the Ordinary. So you can see that, it's a very Colette Baron-Reid type deck. So where I would put this in kind of like her decks is, I think it's a very good deck. I'm still using it for my daily draws. I'm still, getting something out of this. But I don't think, I think the Enchanted Map or not the Enchanted Map, but the Wisdom of the Oracle is probably my favorite that she's done. I do like the Enchanted Map as well. I think the Spirit Animal Oracle is very good too. Also, I enjoy her Good Tarot. But as far as, I think it's better than the Goddess Oracle, the Goddess Power Oracle, pardon me. And I think that it's a little better than the Crystal one. But, I think it's kind of like in the middle. I think it's mid-range. I do worry that, I know with Hay House, especially if they have an author that's quite popular, they'll start to churn out, it seems, more decks. And so things get done quicker, and then you sometimes worry about, is the quality going to suffer? We'll have to see. I don't know if she has any other ones on the horizon soon. I think because they're busy promoting this one. But I'm curious to see where things go. And you know what? Not everything you're going to do is going to be perfect and the best. But I do think it's a solid deck. I do think if you want to work with chakras and you like her stuff, you'll probably like this deck. I give this a solid 3.5 out of 5. I think it's a solid deck. Do I think it's the best deck ever? No. But I think if you like these kind of oracle decks, you'll probably like this deck. So I hope you like this review. If you have this deck, let me know what you think of this deck, or if you have this on your radar. Are you thinking of getting this one? Did this change your mind? Either way, let me know. If you want a reading from me, I do have my Etsy shop listed below for, if you want to get a reading. As well, if you're interested in tarot and readings on my Patreon, I do have a weekly taroscope that I do for each of the 12 signs. And also I have a tier as well if you want a private monthly reading from me. It's the same price as the reading in the Etsy shop, but you do get all the other goodies as well. So I think it's a good deal. But yes, let me know what you think of this deck. And thank you so much for watching. And thank you to my patrons who are the best. You guys are awesome and I love you so much. And a big shout out to Jennifer, Marie, and Nathan. Thank you for your support, and as always, peace and love and rock and roll.